It's a stunning sight. Thousands of packages stolen right off of trains. If your UPS or Amazon package hasn't arrived, it might be somewhere here in this mess, discarded on a Union Pacific Railroad track near downtown LA. As freight trains slow down or come to a halt, the thieves leap on board with bolt cutters, open giant containers, and take whatever they want. This is what they leave behind, all these boxes, some.
Shalom, Yasharahla. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, to the 144,000 elect, and to the 1/3 of all men, women, and children of the nation of Yasharahla that are coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments in these last days. So I just wanted to give a quick update to where we are in prophecy. As we inch closer and closer to the second coming of Yahushai, we will be hitting these checkpoints where society will descend into more and more darkness. The evils are going to be multiplied on the earth. Now, this place is already wicked, but the measures, desperate times call for desperate measures. And this is what we're seeing now. The Lord is so masterful. Of course, he could take down this place like Thanos with the snap of a finger. But this is going to be a slow and gradual demise of Babylon the Great. Then it's going to get to a point where things begin to move fast. You know, when that first domino hits, it may appear to be slow, but as it gets to the end, it looks like it's speeding up. And that's what's happening. So we started with the pandemic, which resulted in all these people having to either work from home or be removed from their jobs. And this created an influx of online shopping, which increased the demand for logistics. But because of job shortages, there's been delays all over the United States as far as, you know, shipments are concerned. But now we're getting into a point where not only the shipments are being delayed, but they are being hijacked by people who are fed up, people who have been affected by this pandemic and are now taking action into their own hands. Let's continue watching this video.
Empty, some not. Look, this box was full of COVID home testing kits, a precious product, tough to buy at many pharmacies. This bag held a bunch of UPS packages bound for homes across America. This Amazon envelope wasn't even opened. The thieves just tossed it away. Some of these boxes contained retail goods bound for America's empty store shelves. This track strewn with boxes stretches as far as you can see in both directions. This entire area was cleaned up in mid-December, which means that all of this came from train robberies in just the last month. And these are UPS and Amazon packages bound for all over the U.S. I see Everett, Washington. I see Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, Arizona, Stockton, California, on and on and on. So what are cops doing? This video shows a police officer.
You see that? So there are shipments on these cargo containers that are from various places. So these shipments don't just affect LA. No, these shipments are often, you know, in transit to somewhere else. Although they might stop in LA, there's a shipment that might be on its way to Virginia, and it might have to make several stops. So what happens when this becomes a thing and people are just finding ways to stake out and perform these heists on these shipments? That's going to affect the end user, which is you, the consumer.
Chasing suspects off the tracks, but he didn't make an arrest. A Union Pacific spokesman told Inside Edition, while criminals are being caught and arrested, charges are reduced to a misdemeanor or petty offense, and a person is back on the streets in less than 24 hours after paying a nominal fine. In fact, criminals boast to our officers that there is no consequence.
So this right here is actually encouraging people to steal. So here we are in a very stressful time, and people are already at their wits' end, whether it's because of the inoculation, not having a job, or just not being able to keep up financially because you're affected by this situation. So you resort to stealing shipments that will ultimately impact the entire economy. But not only that, there is no consequence for this. So this is going to allow more people to commit this crime without a consequence. So don't be surprised when this starts happening at a larger scale. I think earlier in the video they showed one box had COVID tests in it, and people are trying to get tested way more than they were when this whole thing started. I don't know why there's this big rush to go and get tested, and you're among just to be around other people who might have it. So you're basically putting yourself in danger to go get tested. And then there's people who, in order to work, they have to go get tested once a week. Now, then that creates long lines without enough tests. So how are they going to keep up with the tests if the shipments are being hijacked? And how are people going to be able to prove to their employers that they got tested if the lines are long and there's a shortage of testing? So you see, this creates a trickle down, which will result in this place being descended into more darkness. That's why when I said this place is never going to go back to normal, it's never. How could it? And this is a sign that no, things will not. This is, first of all, this is not normal. But this is going to be the trend. So it's high time to come back to the Lord. Let's close this out.
And the 21st century version of the Great Train Robbery goes on and on.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you think these people are thinking about, the law or being arrested or getting caught? No, they're not thinking about that. They are thinking about surviving. If robbing shipping containers was a way to make a quick buck, people would be doing it. This would be a crime that people will be doing often. But people aren't doing this to make a buck. They're doing this to be able to survive. And they're not going to give a damn what the president has to say, or the governor has to say, or the mayor, what they have to say. They're just going to go out there and say this is unacceptable, and our state, our beautiful state will not, this is not how we want to be represented, and we will not stand for this. They'll go in there and they'll just make an emotional statement, and they won't do a damn thing about it because they can't stop it. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to start securing trains now? You know how many trains, you know how many shipments circulate the United States alone? You don't even have the manpower. You don't even have enough people who are willing to work for you to fill all those positions. You look around this place, everybody's hiring. I remember back in 2008, 2009, nobody was hiring. It was so hard to get a job. It was right after the recession, and things weren't as bad as they are now, but there were no jobs then. Now in 2022, there's jobs everywhere, and there's not enough people to fill them. Why? Because the Lord has turned the key on this place. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 4. And the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And that's talking about what's happening right now. All these restaurants are empty. All these stores that were so busy because of what's going on right now, they're empty. Because of the fear of getting the V, all these public places aren't so public anymore. The grinding is low. That means not enough people are working. So everything that's happening is tied to a series of cascading events that are all connected to each other. And they all have to do with the nation of Yasharahla. The nation of Yasharahla is waking up. They're coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments in these last days. People are hearing the word. They're coming into knowledge of the truth, and they're seeing clearly what Esau is doing. And then the Lord is taking this place down, and Esau is doing whatever he can to stop it. And the things that he is doing to try to stop it is actually causing it to get worse. The Lord has put a spirit of confusion in the minds of him and all of his wise men to cause them to make the wrong decisions. I think there's a scripture for that. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19 and verse 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And that's exactly how this place is acting. They don't know how to deal with the V, and every decision that they are making are in error. And they don't have the foresight to see the trickle down of the decision making. Why? Because the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. So the Lord is using the angels to go into the minds of these people and have them meditate on how they're going to solve this riddle. And everything that they're coming up with, because it's perverse, meaning madness, okay, doesn't make sense. That's why when you're watching the news and you're hearing all these different things and you're talking to, people that you know about this subject, everybody just seems all over the place. Nobody really knows a solution. Some people will listen to whatever whatever they're being told, and other people are going to ask questions, and they might, search to and fro for the answer. So everybody thinks that they have their little spin on how to solve this problem or what's really going on. But the people that are making the decisions, the people at the very top, they're no different from your average person, because they don't know what's going on. They don't know that it is the Lord that is doing all these things, and he's causing them to err. So it's high time to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, because you don't want to put your faith in man. The Lord is going to use man to err in these last days so that these prophecies might be fulfilled. If one person was edified, the job has been done. Until the next video, Shalom.
Let's get to this new UFO out of California. Check this out. All right, let's look at this once again of this craft, if that's what it is. Could be a building, I'm not exactly sure, lit up, but from the eyewitness, you can see he's taking it from within his car, shooting outside his window there, and captures something pretty incredible in the night sky out of California. I'm not seeing any kind of building underneath this. Is this some kind of new holographic projection technology that we're not aware of? Usually we kind of see these lights dancing around, and sometimes I think maybe projection systems. But at this point, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I'd like to know if there was some kind of event in that area. If not, why in this random area in this neighborhood that these lights would show up that resembles a flying saucer at night, definitely just hovering there. Brett, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, check out the dead streets. Nobody's there witnessing this. It doesn't seem like an event. If I was the guy filming this, I'd be honking my horn and saying, get out here, everybody. There's something going on. This video is, again, it's unidentified. Could it be maybe a cell phone tower, some sort of a pylon holding something up with lights attached to it? We don't see that. That's a big difference right here. We're seeing something, it seems to be just hovering over the neighborhood right there. These bluish white lights that kind of just almost look like windows or portholes, some people might say. Definitely a curious sighting. It's rather curious. It's a beautiful sight.
Yeah, this is something like straight out of a Steven Spielberg movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Pretty spectacular sighting. I'm hoping, since it's in California, that maybe other people have captured what happened earlier this week in regards to this flying saucer. Is there a craft there? That's amazing.